Welcome back to NatChat, the Natilic podcast. My name is Rob Thor, and today we're focused on one of the fastest growing areas of tech, DevOps. For years now, Cisco's DevNet program has been helping aspiring and veteran developers and IT professionals break through and excel in the world of applications and integrations. On this week's episode, we sit down with one of the key players at DevNet and our own Natilic experts to discuss the origins of the program, Natilic's journey to becoming a DevNet specialist, and discuss some of the client success stories born out of the program. It's Friday, March 5th, and this is the Natilic podcast. All right. Delighted to be joined by another full house of guests on the pod today. We have in Wisconsin, Chuck Stickney from Cisco. Chuck, how are you doing?
Doing great, Rob. Thanks for having me here. Looking forward to this.
Yeah, pleasure to have you. And then we also have Natilic's own Mike Dornan. Mike, hello.
Hello, Rob. Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
And then rounding it off, we have Matyas Prokop. Matyas, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Rob. How are you?
Yeah, good form, thank you. Sun shining in London today, so cannot complain.
Amazing.
Listener, we've got a great show lined up for you today. We're focused on the world of software development and IT operations, which you might more commonly know today as DevOps. But before I get started, let's get a little bit of an introduction to our guests. So, Chuck, would you like to tell the listeners a little bit about you and what keeps you busy day to day?
Sure. So my name is Chuck Stickney. I'm part of our Cisco DevNet partner ecosystem team. My responsibility is engaging with our Cisco partners, helping them understand the value of DevNet, helping our customers understand, how DevNet partners can benefit them. And, with Natilic here being one of those partners that we integrate with our DevNet specialization program, that program is really what keeps me going and keeps me occupied most of the day. So looking forward. Let's keep talking.
Very nice. Very nice. And Chuck, you're from Milwaukee, right? Which is quite well known for its breweries, I understand.
That's right.
Any beer recommendations for the listeners? I know we like to add value to our clients' lives wherever we can, and what better way than introducing them to their new favorite beer?
Yeah, so kind of a relatively it's kind of more mainstream now, but there's a brewery called Leinenkugels, which that's pretty popular in this area, but. Not sure how. I've never encountered it on your side of the pond, but if you have a chance, look for a Liney's and go ahead and pick that up.
Yeah, definitely. There we go. Well, don't say we never do anything for you, listener. And Mike, there we go. That's an intro that you're going to have to be. I don't know if you can add anything to be able to outdo Chuck there with a beer recommendation, but over to you. What do you do in Natilic?
I'm just frantically writing down Liney's and going to Google search it straight after this, Chuck. I'm sure it's a good recommendation. So yeah, hi everyone. I'm honoured to be here. There's a long waiting list. The listeners won't know there's a long waiting list for this at Natilic, and I'm delighted to be here, even if I am riding on the coattails of Chuck and Matyas. It's great to be here. So, what keeps me busy day to day? Well, I've been in the company and I've been in the industry for 20 plus years, but really exciting time at the moment, and I'm very fortunate to be focused primarily in three great areas. The first being our cloud and hosted offer, so the Natilic hybrid cloud, which we have been building for a number of years, and we're now onboarding a number of clients onto that. So that's a great area to be involved in. And a lot of the DevNet principles of software and automation are very prevalent in our own cloud offer. Secondly, and very related to this, the software practice. So we now have our own software practice. We'll talk about that more later, which is really centered on all things DevNet. And then finally, but not leastly, we have this principle at Natilic called the Living Showcase, where we try and use everything that we sell and recommend to our clients. So that's one of my other areas of responsibility. The whole IT and security stack within Natilic globally sits with me. And when your company's full of 250 experts who know better than you how to use this technology, it's always a great challenge every day to delight them with how the technology experience that we can deliver using Cisco and our ecosystem partners. And beer recommendations? Well, I'm an Irish guy, so maybe a Guinness, a good old cold Guinness. That's That'll do you. Maybe not today when the sun's out. Maybe not today when the sun's out, but a good old cold Guinness would be my beer recommendation if you're going to ask me, Rob.
I've heard of that one. I have heard of that one. I'm not going to lie. No.
I don't think you can go wrong with that one, Mike. So that one's good.
Yeah, that's true.
Thank you, Chuck.
Very true. Very true. Finally.
And we are in March now as well, right? So, it is Guinness season.
Exactly. Yes.
Of course. Yeah. See, I think normally at this time of year, obviously as a rugby fan, it's Six Nations, and obviously that is the beer of the sponsored beer anyway of the Six Nations. But we're not getting a cut from Guinness, so I suppose we should move on. And then finally, Matyas has been patiently waiting for us to give him his moment in the sunlight, in the spotlight even. So Matyas, would you like to? Prague again, very well known for its beer in the Czech Republic, but also I'm sure that there's some interesting things that you get up to day to day. So would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I think I have a point of the day for you. Czech Republic has the highest consumption of the beer per capita in the world. So that's my addition to this beer discussion.
Believe it or not, this wasn't rehearsed, listening as well. So that's good going. Clearly done his homework.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we were first. I'm not sure if I should be proud, but there we go. So my name is Matyas Prokop. I am in Mike's team. My focus used to be a lot of data center and the enterprise, but for the last couple of years, I changed my focus and starting to be more into everything around the DevOps and the network automation. So all that cool stuff you're seeing quite recently popping up. I'm usually around playing with the new toys and trying to understand, new toys and help our clients where we can use these new toys in the projects or solving some of their challenges and the problems.
Nice.
So that's and working obviously with Mike and with Chuck on the DevNet partner certification. That was what was keeping us busy for the last few months, which we successfully passed last month, I think. So that was a great journey.
We did.
And still many of new challenges ahead.
Great. Yeah, normally you'd be representing Natilik as our sort of DevNet representative. I mean, we'll come on to your journey as a certified DevNet professional, Matyas, a little bit later. But before we dig into it, and the real core of DevNet, I just wanted to sort of start at the ground level. So, Chuck, would you mind giving us a quick high-level summary of what DevNet is, just for the uninitiated, for anyone that might not be aware?
Yeah, absolutely. So DevNet, it's a conjunction of two words. So the idea of developers and networking. DevOps, that whole concept, you started, roll back the calendar 7-8 years ago with this concept of software-defined networking and how that was transforming the concepts of what networking is. We at Cisco, we developed DevNet to really address that scenario and help to take our existing infrastructure engineers and help them understand that things like Python, things like APIs, how they benefit them, how they can help, but also to try to target more of the traditional developer type of community and pull them into the infrastructure development, into the infrastructure operations realm, so we can build that bridge between the capabilities of core networking, such as what Matyas was doing in both data center and enterprise networking, and also taking that software focus and marrying those two capabilities together so that we have a better, a more reliable, a quicker type of implementations. But then that also allows us to integrate with other applications, so whether it would be traditional business apps or it would be other enterprise applications or infrastructure applications. Having that developer mindset, having that developer lifecycle allows us to tie those together, helping you as a customer be able to realize the benefits of the entire IT stack more readily.
And thanks for that, Chuck. So, Mike, you've been particularly close to the development of Natilik as a DevNet specialist partner, as an executive sponsor alongside Matyas. So what are your feelings from a partner perspective on DevNet and the effect that it's had certainly on Natilik and some of the innovative things that we've been working on?
Yeah, sure. Well, I think it's a long journey is where I would start with that. That for Natilik, this is there are individuals and people in Natilik that have been writing code for many years, and there's some great stats that in a 3-year period we went from 80,000 lines of code to 300 lines of code. So that took 3 years to get to that growth. In the following year, we then went to 750,000 lines of code, and we're now at 2 million plus lines of code. So within Natilic, and I think this is probably a representation of the market, that the opportunity for programmability and automation and software development is just growing exponentially. And I think DevNet just gives us this fantastic frame and framework within Cisco to really expose the opportunities and the benefits within the technology. I think, from my perspective as a company, we sort of think about things across 5 founding principles. 3 of those are people, clients, and proposition. The other 2 are fiscal and operational excellence. But DevNet really hits hard, I think, in benefiting our clients, and it hits really hard in benefiting people, and then a sort of company proposition as well. From a client perspective, and Matyas might talk about this a little bit more, some real life examples. But ultimately, from a client perspective, what we're seeing, and I think what we're now able to do, is improve the time to value. So we can really accelerate and speed up a deployment, and at the same time remove risk through things like automation. And that's sort of super important. And then when we wrap software development around that, we can enhance the core solution and just make it much more relevant for the client. And I think these are things that really matter. We can get you a solution working for your business more quickly, and we can make it more valuable. I mean, that's in terms of impact, that's great from a client perspective. From a people perspective, in Natilic, and I think across the wider community, DevNet's just created, I think, with the work Chuck and Susie have done in the whole DevNet community, they've created this whole sort of vibe and community that people really want to engage in and really want to involve in. I think that's true of the people in our business, but also for our clients and the wider community. And and I think it was about a year ago now, Chuck, that the DevNet certs launched. So and who doesn't like a test? Who doesn't want to sort of prove themselves in the market and have the badge? And I think it's certainly true of all the talented people in our business that having a cert to work towards is a great thing. So there's some real benefit there from a people perspective. And I think overall from our company, it's really helped us frame our software development initiatives, our software development practice, our automation efforts around DevNet, and to accelerate those things to deliver more value to our clients. And it's also created another opportunity to invest in our people. So to provide new skill sets to our people around DevNet, around programmability and around automation. And there's just this whole new language that is emerging that we're all learning day to day. I mean, I've been in the industry, as I said at the start, for 20 plus years, and there's just this whole new language that's emerging that's just sort of super exciting around software, DevOps, and automation. And we never had any doubt when the DevNet specialization was launched that was a target that we wanted to get to, and we wanted to get to it as quickly as was possible. What I would say to anybody out there who's listening is, and Matyas can attest to this because he's the person who did the work, not me, that it's quite hard. These are, as with Cisco, and all due respect to them, that they make, you have to know your trade to get through these things. And I think we were fortunate because we came into this at a sort of running start. But it's been a year in the making. We've now got that DevNet specialization. Incredibly proud and delighted that how hard the team worked to get there, and that we became, we're the first partner in the UK to get that specialization. I think only the 3rd in EMEA. So that's all credit to the team and how hard they work. But also, I think the core capability and the desire in the team to really maximize the benefits. For us, it's all about the clients at the end of the day, and that time to value and enhancing the relevance of the solution is really what it's about for us.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we'll talk about that in some more detail. We'll come on to that definitely. And I think there's an interesting point you make as well, just around the community of DevNet. I think the vibe and the buzz that you mentioned is very true. I remember the first time that we hosted a DevNet Express event in our offices at Devonshire Square. Oh, what a novel thing that was. Just I remember walking through the meeting space where it was being hosted, and genuinely it was kind of an atmosphere that I could only say is akin to like a festival almost, in that people were just really excited. It was kind of knowledge sharing. It was people getting up, people were getting up to speak. It was just, it was not what I expected, but very, very, very pleasant. And And on that subject, actually, Matyas, I've seen at Natilic the journey that you've been on from sort of kickstarting the first DevNet Express meetup that I mentioned there in our office at Devonshire Square. And to that point, I also have to give a shout out to my partner in crime, Hayley Knott, who obviously worked quite hard on that with you. Has been championing DevNet from the start with alongside yourself. But you're now qualified as a certified DevNet professional, I understand. So how would you look back on the journey now? And what are some of the key things that you'd take away of maybe someone that might be, and sort of advice that you might give to someone that's starting on that journey? What's that been like for you?
It has been a great journey. It has been an exciting journey, and it's been a busy journey, I would say. I think we even started actually before the DevNet Express. When you were just mentioning the DevNet Express, we actually organized it first meetup, and that was almost 4 years ago, I think. That was like just a few months after I joined Natilic.
Oh, wow.
3 years ago, I think it was almost 3 years ago, where we've organized first DevNet Express in our Natilic offices in London, and unexpectedly, it was really, really successful. Really successful. We had 20 people, I think, attending. I don't know the correct numbers, and it has been 2 days, as you said, like festival. Basically, geeking out, learn how to automate, how to program. What I really love about that event was that sort of the engagement, not just between us and the clients, which some of them we knew already, some of them were new to us, and we were new to them. But what I especially liked was that engagement between the clients. So we had a different clients from different cities, from different sort of the markets. And they were all talking about, network automation, ACI. They were talking about us as a Natilic, what was their experience and what did they like and what did they didn't, which was real fun as well. We had some
only good things, I'm sure.
Obviously, only good things, no bad things. And then obviously beers in the evening, and we were able to bond much more with our clients, get the feedback from our clients, understand what they are doing, what they are missing, what they would like to see from us, where we can help them with the network automation journey, but also help to get some deals from that DevNet Express event, which was something which we didn't expect, and it was a nice bonus to have. So since then, we've organized 2 more events. We wanted to do more. Unfortunately, COVID happened, and we had to stop. But we had the first one was focused on the data centers. The second one was the enterprise, so DNA center and the SDA, and the third one was around the security, which were also successful as well. And what was amazing, I think, about the other 2 was that we welcomed like completely different clients and different people, which was brilliant as well. So we knew that there are large amount of people who are interested in network automation and the programmability. So I think DevNet Express was amazing, and we hope after this whole COVID will go away, we will be able to organize more events like this in our offices or somewhere in the UK.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, looking forward to that. For sure. And that's also a good point. I mean, you mentioned, Matyas, that there were some opportunities that came out of that first DevNet. I mean, it would be remiss of me not to ask about how we've been putting this all into practice. Obviously, most important part of all of this is the outcomes that we deliver to our clients. So I know that we've got a few interesting stories with some pretty cool outcomes and things that we've helped our clients with. So if I was to put you on the spot, just to mention one, or if you've got time, sort of a couple of your favorite examples where we've worked with clients from an automation or any kind of DevOps perspective.
Yeah, exactly. We have multiple clients who ask us either they've asked us for help around the network automation. I think in general, just to like sort of rewind. I think the biggest challenge for our clients right now are the skills. So they very often asking us about upskilling and make sure that they make sure that they have these skills they need, and they understand what skills they will require from their teams and from the people in their teams. So that's like one of the first steps where we're helping our clients. Then the next level is usually where we're delivering the network automation for these clients. So it's either the network automation for the day one, which is usually where we delivering the solution so they can stand up, for instance, ACI Fabric or their SDA fully automated. That's the day one stuff. But what we are seeing more and more is that day two network automation. And that's where we are, I think, doing the most of the progress for last year. So we have a solution where we are helping our clients to manage their infrastructure as a code, which is basically a collection of multiple tools. And when you look at the DevOps and network automation, it's mainly about the tools and the toolkit you're using. So we're helping on this journey to our clients with the infrastructure as a code. But we also have some great solution, for instance, around the automated documentation. That's very important for the day two as well. We want to help our clients to save their time. Like, who likes updating the documentation? It's just you're spending so much time on updating it, and the next day it's out of date again. So having the automated documentation, in my opinion, is that second piece for the day two network automation, which we're trying to address. And there's a pretty good uptake, I think, from our clients, and they're quite interested.
Yeah, and sorry, Rob, I was just going to add in there, Matyas, because some of the stories that I'm fortunate enough to hear from the teams and from our clients, I think a lot of it goes back to certainly the automation arena is the sort of speed and reduced risk, and I could talk about one, a large manufacturing client here in the UK. They're the first manufacturing plant. I think, Matyas, we it took a number of weeks to roll out the infrastructure for that manufacturing site. The second site, which was a similar scale, similar size, was done in a matter of days. And that's the difference. It's this ability to sort of replicate and speed up. And I can talk on from our own hybrid cloud platform where we're hosting for our clients. We recently deployed some major infrastructure into our data center environment that typically would have taken weeks. And there's a stat one of the engineers gave me that using automation, he created 16,000 lines of code in 7.5 minutes. Which is sort of mind-boggling, and he was trying to recite how many books that would be as well. I think it was something like 8 books or something worth of code in 7.5 minutes. So this sort of speed and reduced risk is it's real, and as Matyas said, the access to the skill set and the knowledge is pretty key at this time. I think, again, DevNet gives us a really good framework for that. But leveraging that, there's real value. There's real value, to businesses, I think, and to clients in leveraging this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, some people may be classed as early adopters, but I think when you hear stories like that, I think it's definitely something that people are going to get involved in more and more as we move forward. And again, it does help sort of overcome that skills gap maybe as well.
I was going to kind of jump in on there as well. So, Mike, when you talk about the idea of, I wrote some code and it generated 16,000 lines of config or code that goes out there, that goes into my infrastructure. The benefit of applying these DevNet skills and applying the DevOps principles is it's not just 16,000 lines of code. It's 16,000 lines of automated tested code. It's automatically documenting, as Matyas was saying. So we can speed up the time of deployment. You as a customer can realize the benefits of that, and you're getting things that have been tested. You're getting things that have met a known criteria for acceptance and for implementation, and it's documented at the end of the day. That was fantasy land. We dreamed about that when I was a network engineer, and I'll raise my hand. I was one that never did any documentation of code or any documentation of network infrastructure. Having that automated that makes everybody's job much more easier. And then we can focus, instead of going back and trying to troubleshoot things and trying to figure out, how am I going to write those 16,000 lines of code manually? No, I'm going to go off and I'm going to solve real business problems and do things that are actually more beneficial to my end customers. And that's the magic of this entire DevNet world.
Yeah, magic is the right word for it. That's certainly for my simple brain, at least anyway. But that does help make it make it a little more sense to me anyway. So before I let you go, gents, I think it'd be really important to make sure that we point people in the right direction. So if I'm someone that wants to get if I'm someone that's interested and wants to get involved in DevNet, where should I go, or where would be a good place to go? I know there's a big event coming up, Chuck, from a Cisco side. But if I wanted to do something today, where would you send someone?
Yeah, so the first place I would point you to is our developer portal. So that's developer.cisco.com. And that's everything DevNet. So that's all of our content. That's everything that's there. Understanding that if you're new to this, it can be a little daunting. So we've actually created a landing page called Start Now. So developer.cisco.com/start now. And from there, you can pick your journey. Am I starting from a network infrastructure perspective and I want to learn what APIs are? I want to start getting involved with Python. We have a journey map for you there. Maybe you're coming from the software side and I know about Python, I know about coding, I know about APIs, but what's this networking thing? We have journeys for you there as well. Networking 101. What is a router? What is a switch? What's a IP address? Those types of concepts, we can build you up and get you to a point where you can start to work with this. Tons of learning labs, sandboxes, which are self-contained, freely available infrastructure labs you can just go into, and you're working on real equipment. You're writing APIs against them, and you're starting to establish that, building up your skills so that you can become like Matyas and be a DevNet certified professional. And then you have those skills, you're demonstrating those skills. Coming up for big events, we have Cisco Live coming up. So this year we're doing something a little bit different in the COVID world. So it's one global event that's taking place at the end of March, the beginning of April. You can go ahead and register for that and get access to all the sessions and all the content there as well. So two tremendous places for the audience to start and to start playing around.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's a shame that there's no Cisco Live this year. I know the Barcelona event last year went down really well, although there may be some livers that appreciate maybe skipping out on the festivities and some of the celebrations post event.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, I bet you don't, because you don't remember it. That's
I think after what Matyas said, we should be hosting it in Prague, Matyas, by the sounds of it, from what you're saying about beer consumption.
Yes, please. Yeah,
that might be a good shout. So, gents, I think that's a wonderful high-level explanation. We didn't want to get into too much detail, and I'm sure Chuck, Mike, and Matyas will have you back in the future to talk more around DevNet as it comes, maybe even about some of the developments that come out of DevNet and Cisco Live. But all that leaves us with, gents, is just to say thank you for your time. So really appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to NatChat, the Natilic podcast. Please subscribe to the Natilic podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a review while you're there. It really helps us improve and grow the show. Please note that opinions expressed on the Natilic podcast are those of the hosts or our guests, not the organisations that they represent. You can find more information on Natilic on our website, that's natilic.com. You can also find us on social media. On Twitter, we're at Natilic Group, as well as Facebook and LinkedIn. Our theme music was provided by Dan Short, who you can find at Danzer, that's DANZR, on music streaming services. This is Rob Thor, and thanks again for listening.